Well, season's greetings, everyone. Hope you all had a wonderful, beautiful Christmas and New Year time and a solstice time, and hope you all got time to reflect. Is that exactly what we should be doing? Nothing outward, everything inward, and we see how we are then, and we nurture ourselves and look after ourselves because that's what we should do in the dark. It allows us to be ready for when the sun does come by. Anyway, happy full moon, because again, I'm going to be telling a tale around the fire tonight, celebrating the full moon and telling a little bit of lore to people and just sitting under the moonlight. It's quite a nice thing to do, isn't it? Really. So I'm going to share the story that I'm going to share with everyone tonight, and it's Thunder and Anansi, and it comes from Ghana, and I quite like it, you see, because I only tell tales that I like, and I don't read them out of a book. I just well, I have done, but what you're getting is my memory of the story. So here we are. So on the coast of Ghana, it's a beautiful wee village, and everyone was living quite happily. But yes, the drought came, and the fish were biting, and storms were coming, but it just blew everything away, and then the mass floods, and they were really quite suffering quite a lot. And Anansi, he had a wee family to look after. He was determined to find food for his family. And after the storm, they went down to the beach, went down to this little harbour, and a lot of the boats were broken up. There wasn't really a whole boat to choose from. So we cobbled together his boat, and he said, well, where can I go? Where can I go? So he walked along the shore and walked along the shore till after his boat moored up, and he spotted an island far, far out, which he's sure he'd never seen before. But he could see on the island there was a massive palm tree, and it looked like there was nuts on there. There was coconuts on the palm tree. So back to where the boat was and went out onto the foreshore, and he got trying to get past the breakers, and a few times he got knocked back, but he was determined, and he paddled and he paddled, and he got through all the breakers, and out he went to the island. And the tree was more or less sticking out the water, but the island was just around. There was a few little palm trees here and there, but this one palm tree was full of nuts. So he moored his boat, he tied it to the bottom of the tree, and he clambered up to the top of the palm tree, and he picks the first coconut and he chucks it down, and it misses the boat and goes into the water. He's like, oh no, okay, this one I'll be more careful. And again, he picks another coconut, drops it carefully above the boat, and it goes woof, into the water. And for the third one, he can't even climb down a bit to get closer to the boat, dropped it. It's going to bang right in the middle. No, in the water it goes again. And this happened for all, for like six coconuts, just fell straight into the water. He's like, oh, I've got to, this is pointless. They're all going in the sea. So he climbs down from the tree, takes off his gear, takes a big breath, and then dives in the water. He dives all the way to the sea bottom, and there are the coconuts, all lying on the seabed. But he looks, and there's a wee little house. Beautiful, like kind of cottage, little stone cottage covered in seaweed and shells. And as he's picking up the coconuts and holding his breath for as much as he could, the door opens, and it's the god of thunder, because that's where the god of thunder resides, is under the sea in Ghana. He says, oh, what are you doing? I see, what are you doing? He says, well, he tells him the tale of the woe that him and his villagers are going through, about the drought and the storm and the fish not biting, and it's almost as there's a curse upon the place. He says, well, I kind of empathise with your plight there. A bit of sympathy from me, so just hold on there, and I'll bring you something else. God, the thunder god goes into his house, comes out with this giant pot. He says, this pot will give you everything that you want. Whatever you want to eat, it'll give it to you, but you've got to say to it, do unto me as my master wishes, and it'll produce whatever you want. You say it, it'll produce it. So Anansi is just so grateful. He says, oh, thank you so much. And he goes back to the surface and gets on, gets on his boat, and but he just can't wait. He can't wait to take it home. He wants to try it out for himself. And he says, "Oh, great pot, do unto me as, the, as thy master wishes, and I'd wish for a I wish for a seafood stew." And lo and behold, he opens the pot lid, and there's the stew, steaming away, and he eats and eats and eats because he hasn't really eaten a meal for a long, long time. And he actually finishes the meal and puts the lid back on the pot, and as he's paddling back to shore and coming through the breakers, and they wash him right up to the shoreline, he's thinking, well, if I tell anybody about this pot, they're going to eat all the food. There won't be enough food for everyone. And then what am I going to do? I'll be starving again, and I risked life and limb to go out and get this. So he takes it home, makes sure there's nobody in, and he takes it into his room and he hides it under the floorboards. And meanwhile, everyone's starving. People are so hungry, they're looking around for insects, and it's not a good situation, and even the water situation is not good either. But people couldn't help but notice that Anansi was getting a little bit plumper. He's getting a wee bit plumper. He's looking a bit healthy and a little bit rotund he was. But the people thought nothing of it, because they all knew Anansi, and they knew he'd be fine. Nothing to go on now. But his kids and his wife, they noticed it as well, and he never seemed to complain about being hungry, but yet they did. They'd sit with empty plates and pretend to eat, just to keep them going. And his eldest son, he was on the verge. He was so poorly. He was so ill, and he was on the verge of entering the spirit world. And God, I believe in if you're entering the spirit world, it gives you the ability to transform. So he says, "Oh, I'm nearly gone. I'm going to transform myself into a fly. I'm going to go into my dad's room and see exactly what's going on, because he's certainly getting bigger, and we're getting skinnier, that's for sure." So he waits and he waits, and his dad comes home and goes into the room, and he flies in through the gap, and he sees his dad lifting up the floorboards. He sees his dad say to the pot, "Do unto me as thy master wishes. I wish for a venison stew," and this venison stew pops up, and as he eats the whole lot, puts the lid back on, puts it under the floorboards. After such a big meal, he thought, well, I'm going to go to the coast and have a little lie down and have a little sleep with the sound of the sea in the background. So as he just goes off and takes a stroll to the shore, and the eldest son, he transforms back into himself again, and he goes to his mum and says, "Mum, this is what Dad's been doing. Come and check this out." So they go in the room, lift the floorboards. And she said, "Well, what did he do exactly?" She said, "Well, he said, 'Do unto me as thy master wishes,' and he wanted a venison stew, and it came." And as he said those words, they opened the lid, and there was a venison stew. So the mother called the rest of the kids in, and they all ate heartily. But the mum was very caring. She said, "Well, what about all the people? What about all our friends and our neighbours and the villagers? They deserve to eat too." So they took it into the village square, and she announces, and everybody comes, and the whole village has their fill, and they even have a little bit more as well. But eventually, it's all a bit much for the little pot over the big pot, and the pot just fizzles and then melts into the ground. And they're like, "Oh God, the pot's gone now, but at least we've had some food for now, and that'll keep us going for at least a week, because that was a hearty stew." And then I see that he's on the sleep on the beach, and he kind of wakes up. He says, "Oh, I feel a bit peckish, I am." So he strolls back to his house. There's no one around. He goes into his room and he lifts up the floorboards, and there's no pot. He said, "Oh, my family have found the pot. I knew they'd found the pot. I knew they'd find it eventually. Oh, what can I do?" And Anansi was fuming, absolutely fuming. He was thinking of all the ways he could punish his family for stealing what was his and it wasn't theirs. He says, "Well, I'm hungry now, and I can't be going hungry again. I'm going to go back out, and I'm going to go and see the god of thunder again." So he sails out through the breakers again, gets knocked back, but he's determined to go, because He's so aggrieved that he's lost his magic pot. And again he ties the boat to the tree. He climbs up the tree and he grabs the coconuts and he throws them deliberately into the sea, but they don't go into the sea, they go into his boat. And all 6 coconuts, as far as he'd throw them, they'd all went back into his boat again. And he's like, oh, well. He climbs back down the tree and he gets onto his boat and he deliberately pushes all the coconuts into the water, takes his clothes off and dives down after a deep breath, and he pretends to collect the coconuts again from outside the God of Thunder's house. And the Thunder God opens the door and says, oh, Anansi, what are you doing back here? He says, well, the pot, it's been taken, and he tells the tale of what happened and how the pot wasn't there. He says, so I've got to get these coconuts and I've got to feed myself, I'm hungry. And he says, Thunder God says, well, yeah, you know what, I feel quite sorry for you, really. It's not a good situation, is it, really? I mean, what you did to your family, but they shouldn't have took your pot at the end of the day. He says, I'll tell you what, I've got something for you. He said, oh, have you really? He says, yeah, I've got something for you. He said, take this magic stick and say to it, do unto me as my master wishes, and then you will get your rewards. You'll get everything that you deserve in Anansi. He said, oh, thank you. And again, he goes to the, floats himself up with the coconuts under his arm and his magic stick, and he puts the coconuts in the boat, and he puts his clothes on again, and again he can't wait. He's so impatient. He can't wait to take it to shore and show the family what he's got from the Thunder God. So he says to the stick, do unto me as thy master wishes, O magic stick. And then the stick starts hitting him and whacking him and whipping him, and it chases Anansi right round the island and around and around and around, and he's being whipped and it's really sore, and he's yelping and yelping and yelping, and eventually he just managed to get away from the stick and get onto his boat and rowed all the way back into shore again. And from that day, Anansi never really looked at that island.